how these gentlemen who are here have gone through a process. And in fact, Mr. Jaswant also comes from the director, I think he was the director of startup, government of Sikkim. So he has that baggage to share. So could we start? I mean, do we wait for? Okay, we'll start. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. Basically, it's actually tough because what COVID has also shown that, you know, roti, kapda and makan, and I think it was only roti during the time of COVID that actually saved Indian industry. Or, you know, you could be, the life was like, what, wormhole, going out, scurrying for food, coming back into your burrow, you know. That was what it was all about. So food becomes very important for us, and I think that is what sustained us. So I would like to actually start from Mr. Jaswant. Presently, not only as a director of fisheries, but also as the past director of startup government of Sikkim. What is like the thrust? Because see, the entrepreneurs are stuck between entrepreneurship one side, and I think Abhimanyu will be able to even, you know, elaborate further, and the agriculture and fishery department, or this one. So how, first of all, how do you bring that gap close? I mean, you know, that would be my starting question to you. We will look for more for solutions. Since the time is very short, we'll look for more for solutions. I mean, this panel, you know.
Thank you. I have seen that ecosystem from both the side.
Yeah.
Because after posting as a director of fishery, not being a technical fishery graduate, because I have not learned any course on fishery, but given a charge for the fishery, I have to learn. So I was working just like a farmer who were freshly getting support from the fishery directorate and were culturing the fish. So I was working from the side. So I was very similar to entrepreneurs who are working on the other side when I was on the other side of the government, where we were executing the startup scheme of the government of Sikkim. So I understand on both sides. Where I find what I find was that startups seem and understood to be a fancy business here, or fancy activity here. This is what the youth feels. Something like IT is involved, something like where more of the chemistry or physics is involved, which is something not possible and which is not a cup of tea for all. This is what I understood from that side. However, the truth is that the truth lies in the area where the startup, if we see from the farmer's perspective or from their side, it should be something like involvement of more youth here. This has not been involved here. Only the aged peoples were taking up these agricultural activities, mostly these agricultural activities, and they were just left with the idea that you just have to plow this area, put the seeds, and this will grow, and this will be your startup activity here. Your agriculture activities here. So they were not able to, grow beyond their customary thinking. So this has to be this. I think with the intervention of more of the private organization, because government organization has their own limitation in intervention. So with intervention, what I feel is that this idea can be changed, and the startup ecosystem, they can be brought into the startup ecosystem system. So involvement of more youth is where I feel will bring this difference in the idea.
So difference in idea, that's number one takeaway, but then again there's a very important thing of linking up from the farm to the ultimate, selling of the product, And I think Abhimanyu and Mahesh and Nikhil, I think all three of you you've gone through the process right from, planting that seed right up to bottling it, packaging it, processing it, and, finally bringing it up in the market. And again, further making it, accessibility, to increase the accessibility in the market. So I would like to ask Mr. Abhimanyu, your dream run has been fascinating, Actually, I feel that, coming up with this Yakon thing, never heard of it before. First of all, creating those farmlands, making it grow, harvest, process, put it on inside that bottle and then market. So it's been people had not heard before. It's something which was very new. How could you tell them the hurdles that you had gone through? I mean, hurdles and how you actually achieved.
Actually, if I go into the hurdles, it'll be too long, and but the hurdles have been very many, and many of those hurdles have been addressed by the previous panel. Okay. But right now, I will just continue with where Sir left off. Okay. And I would like to address this in Nepali. Is that हाम्रोमा जुन चाहिँ उहाँले भन्नुभएको थियो कि युवाको इन्भल्भमेन्ट छैन, स्पेशली तपाईको 35 देखि 45 नभने 50 को उमेरको मान्छेहरु नै प्राय जस्तो यसमा इन्भल्भ हुँदैछ, वेदर इट कम्स टु एग्रिकल्चर नभने तपाईको गाई बाख्रा गोरु पाल्नु यताउता त्यो त्यस्तोमा चाहिँ खाली त्यो उमेरको मान्छेहरु मात्रै आउँदैछ. बट व्हाट आई हैव फेल्ट इज दैट हाम्रो जुन चाहिँ सेप्टेम्बर लास्ट इयरमा हामीले उद्यमीको जुन चाहिँ सम्मेलन गरेको थियौं त्यसपछि मैले चाहिँ लाइफ स्टकमा मेन्टरिङ गरेको थिएँ. अन्त त्यसमा जति पनि हु स्टेड टिल द एन्ड भनौं न हैन, मेरो मेन्टरिङ सेसन्स व्हिच वेन्ट अन फर लाइक अराउन्ड 4-5 months, उनीहरु चाहिँ म्याक्सिमम दे वर यङ पिपल. बुढो कोही थिएन, दे ऑल यङ. 6 of them out of 115 only 6 finished my course. What मैले के बुझे, मैले के सुने भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ यहाँनेर फाइनान्शियल लिटरेसीको कमी छ एक. अर्को लोन पाएपछि लोनको पैसा कसरी चलाउनु त्यसमा कमी छ, नलेज अलि कम्ती छ. सो त्यो जुन चाहिँ ब्रिजिङ अफ ग्याप जुन चाहिँ चाहिन्छ र हामीले जुन चाहिँ वन फ्यामिली वन एन्टरप्रेन्योरमा काम गर्नुपर्ने छ लाइफ स्टक एग्रिकल्चरमा, फुड प्रोसेसिङ डिफ्रेन्ट इस्यु, बट यो दुईटामा चाहिँ हामीले प्राइमेरीली चाहिँ फाइनान्शियल लिटरेसी, वर्किङ क्यापिटललाई कसरी ह्यान्डल गर्ने एन्ड लोन्सलाई कसरी म्यानेज गर्ने त्यसमा फोकस राख्यौँ भने बिफोर इभन द लोन इज टेकन द सक्सेस रेट नट नाउ तर 4-5 years जब त्यो फर्स्ट वेभको मान्छेले जसले ट्रेनिङ गरेर लोन लिएर सक्सेस भएर जब सेकेन्ड वेभको मान्छेहरू आएको हुन्छ त्यति बेला चाहिँ ब्याङ्कको पनि पर्सेप्सन हाम्रो माथि जुन चाहिँ यहाँ थुप्रो प्यानलिस्टहरूले कुरा गर्नुहुँदै थियो कि ब्याङ्क डज नट पर्सिभ अस करेक्टली, त्यो चिज चाहिँ चेन्ज आउँछ. द्याट्स माई टेक अवे.
So basically, if I could understand well, and what we've also understood is like change the perception of how to utilize the money that you receive. But then again, there is also a question of to create that first set where the person actually returns the loan. I think that's one of the key takeaways. That's what you were.
Yeah. So it depends on what kind of तपाईले इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चरमा कति हाल्नु हुँदैछ, तपाईले आफ्नो वर्किङ क्यापिटललाई म्यानेज गर्नुको लागि कसरी हाल्नु हुँदैछ. बिकज तपाईले हेर्नुस् न गाउँ बस्तीबाट लोनको टिकट साइज कति हुन्छ, तपाईको 1 lakh 2 lakhs to max 10 lakhs, होम स्टेजमा 15-20 पुग्दिन्छ. So त्यही हिसाबले हामीले सोचेर गर्नुपर्ने चिजहरु हो.
Yeah, and again, but the problem again with agriculture is also dependent on weather, climate. There are lots of other issues, So the dangers are still there.
So just to add to that, जुन चाहिँ safety valve बन्छ. So agriculture को safety valve चाहिँ livestock. So livestock becomes a very good thing. हाम्रो 20-30 years अहिले पनि गर्छ, अलिअलि पिकल्सहरु बनाउँछ, but 20-30 years back तपाईको इस्कुस धरी सुकाउँथ्यो टाढमुनि हैन, पिकल्सहरु गर्थ्यो, सुकाएर राख्थ्यो. That was also part of food processing. 20-30 years. So we have to start doing something on that.
Okay. So Mahesh, I mean, again, there's another success story with you with Piro. I mean, if people had only heard of Tabasco sauce, I think Piro took it to the next level. So again, taking from the other two, I mean, did you also face with this similar type of, problems of loans not being given, or financial problems, especially being in the agro sector?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. अच्छा, यसमा फर्स्ट है पहिला भन्दा सिक्किम एउटा सानो जग्गा हो है, जहाँ हामी हार्डली 6 to 10 lakhs को पपुलेसनमा हामी सीमित छौँ है. हामीले कुनै पनि बिजनेस है एग्रो, स्पेशली एग्रो सेक्टरमा हामी कन्फाइन्ड टु सिक्किम मा गर्छौँ भने त्यो सक्सेस हुनु निकै कठिनै काम हुन्छ है। मैले मेरो जुन पिरो जुन सस थियो पहिला जुन यसमा निकालेको थिएँ है, यसलाई एउटा ठुलो ब्रान्डको कम्पनीको ससलाई एउटा उहाँबाट अलिकति सिख लिएर मैले काम गरेको थिएँ है, टोबास्को सस भङ। त्यही बेसमा मैले मार्केटमा उतारेको थिएँ। त्यसमा मैले फर्स्टमै मैले हर्डल्स भनौँ, फर्स्टमै मैले फेस गर्नु परेको थियो कि एउटा मेरो लागि एउटा पनि एउटा अपर्च्युनिटी उयो पनि हो है, मलाई ग्रेटफुलको कुरा पनि हो कि अमेरिकन टोबास्कोले मलाई लिगल नोटिस पठाएको थियो है, करिब 10 पेजको लिगल नोटिस थियो त्यो फर्स्टमा है, मैले जुन लन्च गरेको बादमा पनि है। त्यसले मलाई स्ट्रेन्थ दियो पनि, ताकि उहाँहरूले त्यत्रो ठुलो कम्पनी हो जुन 185 इयर्स ओल्ड कम्पनीले मलाई एज अ कम्पिटिटर सोच्यो है, त्यो मेरो लागि एउटा ठुलो अपर्च्युनिटी थियो। त्यसले गर्दा मैले यो प्रोडक्टलाई अझै अगाडि बढाउने पनि मैले त्यसमा जोस लिए पनि अघि। अन्त त्यो प्रोडक्ट थियो, त्यसले गर्दा यसमा धेरै अब्स्ट्रक्सन्सहरू त धेरै छ। हाम्रो सानो जग्गामा ठुलो बेसलाई गराउन हाम्रोमा लोजिस्टिकको प्रब्लम हुन्छ। हामीले सिलगढीबाट जति दिल्ली या साउथ इन्डियामा जति पठाउनुको लागि जति खर्च आउँछ, हामी सिक्किमबाट सिलगढीमा पठाउनु त्यति खर्च हुन्छ कम्पेयर टु है। अनि त्यसले गर्दा यसमा पनि हामीलाई स्यु छ सानो चाहिँ है। त्यसले गर्दा यसमा हाम्रो लागि धेरै चुनौती नै हुन्छ एग्रो सेक्टरमा काम गर्नुको लागि, तर यहाँको अपर्च्युनिटी पनि छ। हामीले सिक्किमलाई अहिले जुन अर्ग्यानिक स्टेटमा हाम्रो उयो भाग छ, हामी यो कन्सेप्टलाई अगाडि बढाएर लानुपर्छ है। जहाँसम्म मेरो सोच छ, किनभने हाम्रो सिक्किमको भने मैले फिल गरेको कुरा चाहिँ के छ भने सिक्किमको प्रोडक्ट जुन पनि छ, हामीले एउटा ग्लोबल मार्केटमा पनि हामीले अलग्गै पहिचान हाम्रो बनिन सक्छ यसमा। किनभने सिक्किम एउटा अर्ग्यानिक स्टेट हो। यो कन्सेप्टलाई हामीले कायम राख्नुपर्छ, मलाई जहाँसम्म फिल हुन्छ है। किनभने आइडेन्टिटी हाम्रो अलिकति प्रोडक्टको भ्यालु अलिकति हाई हुन्छ, यसलाई गराउनुपर्छ। र मैले यसमा काम गर्नुको लागि फर्स्टमा जुन मेरो ब्रान्ड थियो, मैले माथिल्लो लेभलमै उठेर जुन एफएमसिजी कम्पनीले जस्तो प्रकारले गर्छ त्यही बेसमा म पनि काम गर्छु, मैले त्यो सोच राखेर यसमा काम गरेको थिएँ। यसमा मैले पिरोलाई जुन छ अहिले ग्लोबल रेजिस्टर्ड ट्रेडमार्क हो है, एउटा पिरो रेजिस्टर्ड ट्रेडमार्क हो जुन भइसकेको छ है। यसमा मैले जति पनि प्रोडक्टलाई बनाउनु पर्ने जुन यो छ लागेको छ, मैले फुड स्ट्यान्डर्ड प्यारामिटर जो एफएसएसआईको स्ट्यान्डर्ड प्यारामिटर्स छ, त्यो प्यारामिटर्सलाई फुलफिल गरेर गराउँछु। मैले मेरो प्रोडक्टमा मैले बारकोड लगाएको छु जो ग्लोबल मार्केटमा जानु मेरोमा योग्य क्षमता राख्छ है। त्यसमा हालैमा अहिले यसमा जुन मेरो एउटा ध्येय छ कि यो प्रोडक्टलाई सिर्फ कन्फाइन टु सिक्किमबाट यहाँ प्रोडक्सनको लागि सिक्किममा मात्रै नगरेर भोलि दिनमा यसलाई बाहिरसम्म पो लगाउनु पऱ्यो, सक्षम बन्नु मेरोमा यो विचार छ है। यही विचारलाई लिएर मैले उत्तराखण्डमा पिरो हेल्थ केयर प्राइभेट लिमिटेड मैले एउटा कम्पनी रेजिस्ट्रेसन गरेको छु, उहाँबाट मैले यो काम पनि गरिरहेको छु है। यसमा मैले प्राइभेट लेभल्समा पनि कति काम गरिरहेको छु। कुनै जसले प्राइभेट लेभल्समा काम गर्न चाहन्छन् भने साउथ इन्डियाको कम्पनीहरू छ, मैले पोस्ट कार्ड भन्ने जुन उनीहरूको एउटा ठुलो प्लेटफर्म छ, त्यसमा पनि मैले पोस्ट कार्डको लेभलमा हामीले त्यहाँ सप्लाई गराउँछु। र स्पेसली म ज्यादा प्रेफर गर्छु कि पिरो नै ब्रान्डलाई नै गराउन सक्छु। र यसमा मैले आफ्नो प्रोडक्टहरूलाई गराउनुको लागि मैले भुटान मेरो राम्रो मार्केट छ है, भुटानको लागि पहिलादेखि हाम्रो ग्रिन ग्रोसरको ब्रान्डमा जान्थ्यो, अहिले हालैमा त्यसलाई ब्रान्ड चेन्ज गरेको छु कि पिरो ब्रान्डमै हामीले मार्केटमा गराउने गराएको छौँ। भुटान छ अनि हालैमा फर्स्ट हामीले जस्तोको लागि युएस पनि हामीले आफ्नो प्रोडक्टलाई हामी वहाँ पनि पठायौँ र हालैमा अरू उयसमा पनि बात चलिरहेकै छ है। यसमा एउटा एग्रो बेसमा काम गर्नुको लागि यङ जेनेरेसनको लागि हामीहरूमा जो आउँछ पनि कति युथहरूले कि एज अ सक्सेसफुल एन्टरप्रेनर हो, यसमा के गर्न कठिनाइ छ, हामीलाई मेन्टेन गर्नु पनि बहुत कठिनको साथै, किनभने हामी सानो राज्यबाट छौँ जहाँ पपुलेसन हार्डली हामीले कम्ती उयसमा हुन्छ, यहाँ कन्जम्सन गर्ने कम्ती उयसमा हुन्छ र हामीले बाहिरकोलाई बेस बनाएरै गर्नुपर्छ। र हाम्रो हिजोस्ती आजभन्दा 7-8 महिना अगाडि मेरो एमाजोनमा पनि टप 10 ऱ्याङ्कसम्ममा मेरो सस पिरो सस त्यहाँ ऱ्याङ्किङ थियो है, राम्रो यसमा पुगेको थियो। र हामी अझै एमाजोनमा गरिरहेको छ, बाहिर अनलाइन स्टोर्समा अफलाइन स्टोर्समा मुम्बईमा दिल्लीमा हामीले गराउँछौँ। यो अगाडिको कामलाई अगाडि सुचारू लाने हामीले राखेको छौँ सर।
Thank you. I mean, that was really a long run because, and I think even Revas has been facilitating them with that, the Northeast. Yeah, any origins. Very interestingly, what Mr. Dawari has spoken is something called a brand Sikkim. Now, I think, over the last 10 years, what I did see, there was like different brands across, be it Gurjari or be it Rajasthali or, If you go to Orissa, they have their own brands and etc. One of the fastest moving brand in the last 10 years was Bishwa Bangla, the one that has started from West Bengal. And they've put everything under that brand, be it clothes, be it honey, be it, you know, biscuits, not biscuits, but I mean, they have their own rasagollas too. Everything is under that brand Bishwa Bangla. And in fact, even good, you know, you actually get good in toothpaste, what do you call that? Nolin good, yeah. I mean, I was like surprised. So I think one of the takeaway also is to create a brand Sikkim, and which he's rightly said, you know, they'll put Sikkim in the center stage of the products that comes out from here. Because, you know, it's very important that label of that place becomes bigger. Another very important thing that I would like to ask here, Mr. Pradhan, you know, tea. Tea is again a very competitive market, considering the Darjeeling tea, which is there, Timi, you know, in Sikkim, and then now Bermiok tea. How was this journey? I mean, that's very important to learn, because you went into a domain which again is a very, very, you know, sophisticated domain. I mean, Darjeeling tea is supposed to be sophisticated. That's what we feel, you know.
So tea is not something that my wife and I started during our lifetime. It was started by a predecessor. So we inherited this garden and the legacy. And it goes to show that tea is not a overnight business. It's a marathon, really. And Bermiok tea has been around for now 20 years, and we're still not, you know, as big as we want to be. So, and it is a highly competitive industry, because we are in a nation that produces tea, so volume economics pricing becomes a huge challenge. So we have 1,000-acre tea gardens in Darjeeling, and you know, we are a small farmer here in Sikkim. Also, the fact that Sikkim doesn't have a tea industry, there's only Timi, and we don't have an industry infrastructure. There's a lot of other challenges that small businesses will face. Access to talent, you know, so we don't have people here who've done tea, so we have to import, you know, that kind of resources, or do it ourselves. So we work with our village resources, so, you know, and we ourselves have learned the business, so we are doing tea ourselves. In all this comes obviously the ways you segment, how you market, how you price, and find your target audience, which there is now for all kinds of businesses. The Darjeeling tea industry is, a lot say, is dying. Our grandchildren may not see it because of the problems of the economy on the whole. Access to labor. I concur and resonate with the fact that we have an aging population on the field. And it's sad that Sikkim, which is right now at, actually has the opportunity, you know, in this post-pandemic era, to capitalize on its, you know, brand, is losing its workforce, you know, from the field. So it's a big problem. So incentivizing the youth to get back to the field is, I think, something which we have to also look at. So to answer your question, the journey has not been easy, especially for a small, you know, family business, and we've had to compete aggressively with gardens, but we've managed to create a brand. So I think for us, creating a brand and creating a brand of trust, transparency, and having a unique story, and obviously taking the Sikkim brand as part of our USP has helped in this journey.
Exactly. You know, the brand Sikkim again comes in, you know. So probably I think all the goods that comes out from Sikkim has to be, I mean, you have that organic tag already with Sikkim, so just to capitalize on it. Now, before I open the floor, I said I'll do it at 35, I'll keep it at 35. Just 7 more minutes and we'll finish this panel. I'm sure you all are very hungry. Before I open the house to questions, anyone can answer from all of you. What about the infrastructure that, you know, even in the last panel, there was a lot of talk on infrastructure. Infrastructure for even this one, like, you know, you'll need cold storages, you'll need quarantine zones. People, I think, we don't have any floriculturists here, but then, you know, flower industry, Kalimpong has been asking for it. I think we can even capitalize that. And we can take their flowers and keep it. So all these things, you know, cold storage, especially to keep your farm produce, to keep, I mean, everything, you know, to keep the industry, the processing industry running. You can come out with chips from here, and there's no issues. So what do you think? I mean, what are the...
Yeah, so infrastructure has been a big concern for us because, you know, we are a plantation company, and infrastructure has always been a pain point. So we have power shortages constantly.
Power shortages.
We have water problems. We have landslides and road and no access suddenly. We could have had a great, airport that could, do air cargo and get a lot of perishable items out there. That's been a failure as far as a businessman is concerned. We hope the railways that comes up to Rangpo will give us some thing, because pricing of raw materials for us is because logistics is a big problem. So infrastructure for me has been the biggest pain point after workforce, and I think the government has only to look at three things for them. If they spend well on infrastructure, which is logistics, your road connectivity, power, water, and they focus on medical and education. The rest entrepreneurs can take care of.
Okay. Yes, Jaswant. I know that's.
I will just add on. Agriculture products are very much perishable here, and there are high chances of getting adulterated because of very poor handling. And in this regard, the cold storage chain, this is what demand of most of the entrepreneurs who are in this sector here. However, what I feel is that this has been looked upon only to the government. The government should take on this responsibility. I mean, this is what I'm seeing from the entrepreneur side. But I feel if you see the case study of the Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, there are a lot of private entrepreneurs who are playing in this sector field.
Yes.
And the government of India, through Ministry of Food Processing Industries, MOPI, under the Pradhan Kisan Sampada Yojana, there are a lot of facility for entrepreneurs to do business in this sector. Yeah. So entrepreneurs doesn't mean that you have to produce a thing here. You need not produce a thing. You can also do business in some other products here. So this is what I feel. So entrepreneurs can also come in this regard where they can play on this cold storage thing. Now fish, one of the most perishable thing.
Exactly.
There is a huge demand of trout in the rest of the country here, which we are not able to supply. We have now, through the youth, Sikkim youth, we are planning to export to the other countries, other state like this Maharashtra, Bengal, Kerala. So this is what we are planning. But one drawback that we are having is the supply of the fish in the raw form here. This is a challenge that we are having, and we cannot supply. How to transport this thing here? If I want to transport trout, what I should do? So we are thinking of some of the technology like blast freezing technology. This is what we are thinking. So that at least we maintain as much intact as possible of the fish and send it to the user here. So for this now the challenge is the storage here and transportation here, which we are facing. So I feel that entrepreneurs can chip in rather than government.
So a new opportunity can open for opening up cold storage chains, or as you said, blast cooling or something like that.
There's a lot of information.
हजुर सर जुन तपाईँले अहिले प्रश्न गर्नुभयो यसको सायद यो जुन पीडा जुन फिल गर्नुभएको थियो हाम्रो सामान्य मुख्यमन्त्री महोदयले आजभन्दा 3-4 महिना अगाडिको एउटा मैले भिडियो क्लिप देखेको थिएँ उहाँकोमा है उहाँले सेम क्वेसन गर्नु सेम इस्युजमा बात गर्नुहुँदै थियो है कि उहाँ भन्नुहुँदै थियो कि हाम्रो जति पनि स्किम्सहरू छ है हाम्रोमा हरेक डिपार्टमेन्टमा स्किम्स छ है एग्रिकल्चर डिपार्टमेन्टमा छ अरू डिपार्टमेन्टमा स्किम्सहरू छ तर त्यो डिपार्टमेन्टमा स्किम्सहरू हाम्रो सिक्किमको लोकल एन्टरप्रेनर्सहरूले लोकल युथ्सहरूले अहिले लिन सकेको छैन मिन्स कुनै त्यहाँ क्राइटेरिया यस्तो छ कि ताकि हाम्रो यहाँको उसले गर्दा गर्नु सकेको छैन यस विषयमा उहाँले एउटा ठुलो अडान राख्नु भएको थियो उहाँले रिक्वेस्ट पनि गर्नुभएको थियो अफिसर्सहरूलाई कि यदि कुनै पनि कानुनमा केही गर्न सकिन्छ भने गरेर पनि हाम्रो युथहरूले मौका पाउनुपर्छ भन्ने कुरालाई म यस विषयमा म एकदम यो उयो गर्न चाहन्छु किनभने म फेस गरेर आएको छु म उत्तराखण्डमा पनि म एउटा प्रोजेक्ट चलाउँछु है उहाँ बाहिरतिर जसरी एउटा स्किमको लागि एप्लिकेसन्स आउँछ हजारौं लाखौं एप्लिकेसन्स आउँछ स्किम्सको लागि हाम्रोमा अहिले सब्सिडिजहरू छ स्किम्सहरू छ त्यो सब्सिडिज ब्याक भएर जान्छ हरेक साल हरेक डिपार्टमेन्टमा सब्सिडी ब्याक भएर जाँदैछ सिक्किमको सन्दर्भमा है त्यसलाई लिने कोही छैन है हाम्रो त्यो क्राइटेरियालाई हामीले फुलफिल गर्न सकिरहेको छैन यहाँको एन्टरप्रेनर्सहरूले यहाँको युथ्सहरूले र हाम्रो यहाँको यसमा हाम्रो लागि स्टेटको लागि जुन बाहिरबाट फन्ड गभर्नमेन्ट अफ इन्डियाबाट फन्ड आउँछ भने हामीले यहाँको अफसोसहरूले पनि त्यसमा जुन सीएम साहबको आह्वान थियो त्यसलाई मध्यनजर राखेर काम गर्नुपर्छ र लोकल युथहरूलाई लोकल एन्टरप्रेनर्सहरूलाई कस्तो प्रकारले सपोर्ट गर्न सकिन्छ है त्यही अनुसारले गराउन सकिन्छ यो हाम्रो भागमा आएको हो है हामीले यो काम गर्नुपर्छ यो यसमा म यो विचार राख्न चाहन्छु किनभने हामीलाई धेरै इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर यस्तो चाहिन्छ है अहिले कोल्ड स्टोरेजको कमीले गर्दा हाम्रो जुन पेरिसेबल आइटम्सहरू यति साह्रो ड्यामेज हुँदैछ सर है इभन हाम्रो मेरो उसमा पनि म डल्ले खोर्सानी सारा सिक्किमको अहिले प्रक्रिया गर्छु है म ब्याम्बो सुट प्रक्रिया गर्छु है यदि कोल्ड स्टोरेजमा भयो भने त्यसको सेल्फ लाइफ कमसेकम 10 टाइम्स बढेर जान्छ है तर हामीले कोल्ड स्टोरेज आफैमा ठुलो इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चरमा गरेर हामी गराउँछौँ कोल्ड स्टोरेजमै राख्छौँ तर ठुलो लेभलमा हामीले गर्न सक्दैनौँ है त्यसमा गभर्नमेन्टमा स्किम्सहरू छ हामीलाई त्यो स्किम्सहरूलाई हामीलाई गर्नुपर्छ हामीलाई सपोर्ट गर्यो भने एन्टरप्रेनर्सलाई सपोर्ट गर्यो भने त्यो इन्डाइरेक्टली फार्मर्सलाई सपोर्ट हुन्छ किनभने हामीले फार्मर्सलाई पेमेन्ट गर्छौँ र फार्मर्सको सामान हामीले प्रक्रिया गर्छौँ है त्यसले गर्दा यो चेनलाई ब्रेक हुन नदिनुको लागि चाहिँ गभर्नमेन्टले एकदम स्ट्रङली केही मेजर्स लिनुपर्छ यसमा
Exactly. I mean, that's a very important point. I think Abhimanyu can also chip in this. Because, then you have a 12-month running. Suppose you create a dalle, you can keep it running for the 12 months, Otherwise, suddenly the season goes and you don't know what to do. I mean, the demand is there, but you cannot supply. I mean.
So, just to add to all their points, number one, we suffer 35 to 40% wastage because of lack of cold storage.
Cold storage.
Number one. Second
so
thing
we don't have a cold storage.
We do, but it's
too small.
It's too small, or it does not fulfill our needs. And there are a lot of issues with cold storage also.
Okay.
The second part is to add to whatever they have said is from a supply side perspective. All right, we do not deal in as much volumes to justify the cost required for a blast cooling of that fish. This is just an example. Okay, of the fish. For example, for my product also, I will have to justify that cost. But who's going to pay that? Do we have the necessary backing to do that payment in the first half? It's too small. Obviously, what we get is that no, Sarkar ko to ekdam, Government of India ko dami schemes sir. But on this platform, I would like to, I'll say this also, is that NEIDS ma, it's been 3.5 years, I've applied for a subsidy, I've not got it. Now you tell me that any person who is going to be serious about entrepreneurship is going to look at NEIDS or Government of India schemes. Now NEIDS ma bhayo bhane po alikati relief paunchu ma, then I'll have to say okay fine, MOFP ma cold storage ma cha re 90% subsidy is there, then I can think okay, I can do that cold storage also, I can do this also. But when I'm not getting the first one, what am I going to rely on that second one coming in? No chance. And these are challenges which we have to accept. And these are the reasons why the rankings are not happening. You see, the ease of doing business, these are the reasons why. From a policy perspective, we can do damn well. It can be very, very well. But when it comes to the implementation of the policy, that is where we need to really, really tighten the screws in small places, and we'll do very, very well. It's only small iterative steps. If we do them properly, we will be able to claim those subsidies also. We'll be able to tell the people about the subsidies also, and we can create that proper cycle of infrastructure development from a private entrepreneurship perspective, and with the help of government subsidies. That's my.
Actually, it's very much discouraging to know that such energetic entrepreneurs who have been doing business, who had been developing products in the state of Sikkim, the subsidies, the scheme, the project that he has applied hasn't been approved for the last 3 years. I mean, this is very much discouraging. Such discouragement, maybe few genuine or very hardworking entrepreneurs might be facing in the state, which I also acknowledge. However, I would also would like to bring to the forum and for the public information that there are many schemes, many activities that the government of India has been, sanctioning for the state of Sikkim, which he has also mentioned earlier, where the youth were not able to come forward and avail here. This is what I'm saying from the fishery point also, so that I may be very specific to what I say. But otherwise, there are many. And the youth, while availing the subsidy, they look for the very easy activity here. So there are, for example, there are many activities. One activity is construction of the pond, which is very, very easy here. You just have to dig, then cement it, and then it's over. There's this thing only, and then you have to put water and fish and feed, and it's over here. But advanced activity like RAS, recirculating aquaculture system, where you can increase your production double, triple, or 4 times here in the small quantity here. The youth doesn't come forward here. Now I have to run after the youth here. कि तपाईं किन लिँदैन? यो लिनु नि, किनभने यसमा तपाईको production double हुन्छ, triple हुन्छ. Oh, and यसमा technology पनि छ. हामी तपाईको suggest गर्छु गरेर नि. So they didn't take. So now the point that I want to raise here is the risk factor. हामी risk लिँदैन नि फेरि. हामी risk लिँदैन. So suffer गर्छ the genuine person like him. किनभने government of India has an impression नि कि उनको दियो, but they were not able to fulfill. So अब अहिले नदिनु. जो दियो, let us see whether they do it or not. This is what we are facing. So new scheme, new activity, genuine मान्छे जो apply गर्छ त्यो पाउँदैन नि. Oh, हाम्रोमा छ नि यो, these are the fact नि फेरि. किनभने मेरोमा pending last 3 years को pending activity छ. मान्छे आएन. Now म आफै पछाडि भाग्नु पर्यो कि तपाईं आएर किन लिँदैन. Now please come. Then I have to request the honorable minister to please sir, तपाईं honorable MLAs हरु पनि अलिकति please request गरिदिनु कि उनकोबाट मान्छे पठाउनको लागि गरेर. This is what we are doing. I mean, this is a fact reality here. अब उसमा now suffer को गर्छ? I mean, he is to suffer here. I mean, the person who can actually do a startup in Sikkim, see, not an enterprising activity. I'm talking about a startup here. He can be one of the person who can bring a startup in the state here. So they must suffer back. So, everything it's a, I mean, के भन्छ जो हाम्रो जो overall picture जो दिखाउँछ नि फेरि जो grabs गर्छ नि government of India या फिर जो हेर्छ नि जो control गर्छ त्यही basis पर ही depend गर्छ नि कि कस्तो अगाडि चल्छ गरेर.
Thank you. I mean, may your tribe increase, Mr. Jaswant. We should have bureaucrats like you running after people. Lanus, rather than going to offices. Any questions from the house, please? I mean, I would. Yes, Devakar. Is that a question or a comment?
Either.
I mean, we are equal learners, you know.
Hi. Thank you very much for the panel. Very, very interesting. Jaswant sir is almost an entrepreneur. He is 3/4 an entrepreneur, 1/4 a bureaucrat. So very glad to see you there. Abhimanyu, my friend Mahesh, both of them I know very closely, and good to hear from you, Mr. Nikhil. A question was for him because, as you said, tea is a very competitive market, and but my question is very simple. As an entrepreneur, where do you see and when do you see the benefits reaping for you? Because, you know, it's a very challenging and it's a very competitive market. And you've been running this for a very long time. And as entrepreneurs, you know, if we don't have an idea which is working, we tend to move to the next one. Because that's where we see the... So, but for you, it looks like it's a very passionate thing. So where do you see the break even happening and when and how also? Yeah, in your market?
That question keeps me up at night. So there is an optimum scale that we have to reach for tea. And Sikkim being such a small state, you know, we don't have access to that kind of land. So we have to change our business model a bit, which we have done. So we are working on towards quality. So we are raising our price realization per kilo of tea. And that's how we are trying to break even and make profits. And now that our teas are reaching overseas markets, that large old buyers who work only with, you know, the Castletons and Margaret's Hope and Timmy's of the world, choosing our tea over there in certain seasons, gives us that kind of, you know, encouragement that, you know, that will be able to work on this model. So to answer your question, we are obviously breaking even on an operating basis. We are breaking even on we've recovered our capex, but we know that for this business to be sustainable, the volume has to be so much more. And that's what we're working on, the next phase of growth right now.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, very good.
My question to Mr. Jaswant. नो डाउट तपाईँ एकजना राम्रो अफिसर हो, हामी सबैलाई थाहा छ। यहाँ इन्टरप्रेनर त्यहाँबाट यो तपाईँको सब्सिडीको कुराहरू अब धेरै भए हुन्छ, अब त्यो भइरहेको छ। तर यहाँ जुन लाल फिताशाही छ नि, जसले इन्टरप्रेनरहरूलाई चाहिँ उठ्नु दिँदैन, त्यसको चाहिँ चर्चा भएको छैन। जुन एउटा इन्टरप्रेनर अफिसमा कुनै एउटा अफिसमा केही एउटा पर्मिसनको लागि जान्छ या केही एनओसीको लागि जान्छ, जसरी त्यो इन्टरप्रेनर हरेस खाएर 1 महिना 1.5 महिना अफिस धाइ पछाडि मेरो चाहिँ काम नहुने रहेछ भनेर जुन फर्केर आउनुपर्ने सिचुएसन छ, त्यसलाई चाहिँ अब मिलाउनको लागि जुन त्यसलाई अलिकति यो सिङ्गल विन्डो सिस्टम बनाउनको लागि चाहिँ डिपार्टमेन्टले या गभर्मेन्टबाट चाहिँ के पहल हुनुपर्छ भन्ने तपाईँलाई लाग्छ?
Yeah, in the first session also यसको अलिकति कुरा थियो about single window and all those things if any. See, हामी सिक्किममा for example मलाई suppose if I want to open a restaurant हो, I myself does not know कि म कुन चाहिँ डिपार्टमेन्ट को एनओसी लिनु पर्छ कि मलाई याद छैन. I mean this is a general talk. Okay, many of you will not be knowing also कि कुन डिपार्टमेन्ट को एनओसी लिनु पर्छ, कुनको पहिला लिनु पर्यो, कुनको बादमा लिनु पर्यो, हामी के याद छैन यार. We does not know. So हामी के गर्छ, हामी यता उता भाग्छ और I mean we are just wasting our time. Then भन्छ कि तपाईँ यता होइन, तपाईँ पहिला उता लिएर आउनु, यता लिएर आउनु गरे नि. यो त सानोको हो फेरि नि. अब ठुलोको हेऱ्योपछि सपोज इफ सम अदर कम्पनीज इफ सम सिक्किममा इन्भेस्ट गर्ने हो या सिक्किममा सपोज इफ कम्पनी इस्टाब्लिस गर्ने हो गरेर आएपछि त्यो मान्छे सिन्स बिङ न्यू टु द स्टेट या वो कति साल यता उता गरेर कति डिपार्टमेन्टमा कुद्नुपर्छ तपाईँ हेर्नु नि. उनको लागि हामीले व्हेन आई वाज इन दि इन्फर्मेसन टेक्नोलोजी डिपार्टमेन्ट आई ड्राफ्टेड दि सिंगल विन्डो एक्ट. सिंगल विन्डो एक्टमा त्यो सबै एन्कपास गरेको कि कुन चाहिँ कसरी यो सबै फिट गर्नुपर्छ. अरू अनलाइनमा विथ दि सिंगल तपाईँको एउटा विन्डोबाट तपाईँ कसरी स्टेप बाई स्टेप प्रोसेसमा जानुपर्छ. अरू हाउ दि लाइन डिपार्टमेन्ट हेज टु कम्प्लाई गरेर हामीले यो गरेको. बट आई डोन्ट नो वाट हेज ह्यापन टु द्याट ड्राफ्ट एक्ट विच आई हेभ सबमिटेड टु द गभर्मेन्ट. यो अहिलेसम्म दिस हेज नट बिन ब्रट टु द लाइन. सो हामी यो चिज आई मिन वी जस्ट हेभ टु आई मिन यो सबै चिज स्ट्यान्डर्डाइज या फिर पब्लिकको इन्फर्म नगरेपछि यो सबै हुन्छ. सो मेरोमा सपोज मान्छे आएपछि फर इक्जाम्पल नि यसको लागि सम फर एनओसी एन्ड अल दोज थिङ नि. सो त्यो टाइममा के हुन्छ भने डाइरेक्ट आएपछि आई मे नट बी एबल टु गिभ द एनओसी हो, किनभने for giving NOC from my side, I may also be requiring some others, remarks or some other things. Ni. They manchi couldn't percent because they buy a career which I am not able to give. Ni. So, alik malay lagyo ki some kind of standardization need to be framed by the government, which need to be public ko lagi informed dinu pare. Then uske baad ma यो चीज problem hunde na kare.
जुन चाहिँ तपाईले यो हैन
हजुर त्यही त न that's what I'm saying कि so for example अब उसमा एउटा म्यानुफ्याक्चरिङ सेक्टर एन्ड एउटा तपाईको सर्भिस सेक्टर गरेर दुईटा छ नि फेरि नि. अल बिजनेस क्यान बी डिभाइडेड इन्टु टु क्याटेगोरी. वान इज योर म्यानुफ्याक्चरिङ जो तपाईँको प्रोडक्सन गर्छ, वान इज योर सर्भिस जो तपाईँ सर्भिस प्रोभाइड गर्छ द्याट प्रोडक्सन गरेर नि. सो तपाईँको यो सबै एभ्रिथिङ comes under the domain of the तपाईँको industry department. Now industry जो स्पेसिफाई नि सबै चिज industry department has to specify कि तपाईँको सपोज यो चिजको लागि यो हुनु पर्यो, यो चिजको लागि यो हुनु पर्यो गरेर एउटा स्पेसिफाइड गर्नुपर्छ नि. सो देन ओन्ली तपाईँको थाहा हुन्छ नि फेरि. सो यो सबै इन्डस्ट्री डिपार्टमेन्ट एम्बिटमा आउँछ नि.
हैन अहिले I'll just like to add one thing here. यो चाहिँ तपाईँको क्वेसन चाहिँ के हुने रिलेटेड टु EODB इज डुइङ बिजनेस भन्ने एउटा IT स्ट्यान्डर्ड क्रिएट भएको छ सेन्ट्रल गभर्मेन्टबाट है. सो EODB मा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भने कन्सोलिडेसन अफ सबै जति डिपार्टमेन्टको अनलाइन हुने चिजहरू छ नि त्यसलाई चाहिँ कन्सोलिडेट गरेर चाहिँ फर इक्जाम्पल इभन नर्थ इस्टमै आसाम इज डन अ फिनोमिनल जब इन दिस. तपाईँको क्वेसन छ भने एउटा मलाई केही एउटा रेस्टुरेन्ट खोल्नु छ भने चाहिँ मेरो प्रि रेक्विजिट्सहरू चाहिँ के हो भने चाहिँ त्यो चिजहरूलाई चाहिँ बिट सानो के भन्छ इन्टरप्राइज अर बिट लार्जर इन्टरप्राइज सबैजनालाई कन्सोलिडेट गरेर चाहिँ त्यो बनाउने चाहिँ पहल सुरु भइसकेको छ है. त्यसमा चाहिँ अलिकति टेक्निकल के एड गर्नु चाहन्छु भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ EODB लाई चाहिँ अगाडि बढाउनुको लागि चाहिँ NIC को एउटा इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर सफ्टवेयर इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर छ, त्यसलाई चाहिँ सर्भिस प्लस भनिन्छ है. त्यो सर्भिस प्लस युज गर्नलाई चाहिँ अब हामीले अस्ति अक्टोबरमा एउटा वर्कसप भएको थियो. त्यसलाई इम्प्लिमेन्ट बिस्तारै बिस्तारै गर्दैछ। त्यसमा चाहिँ के हुँदैछ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ डिपार्टमेन्टले चाहिँ सबमिट गर्दैछ कि मेरो कुन कुन प्रोसेसहरूलाई म अनलाइन लानेछु भन्ने चाहिँ त्यो म्यापिङहरू अहिले हुँदैछ। So it should take some time, but then
yeah, I know. I mean, everything is getting streamlined now.
Started, yeah.
Because yes,
I'll just complete what
yes, yes.
जुन चाहिँ तपाईँले लाल फिताशाहीको कुरा गर्नुभयो नि, यसमा चाहिँ तपाईँको जब यो सब्सिडीको कुराहरू गर्दाखेरि देयर आर 3 लेभल्स सर। वन लेभल इज तपाईँको स्टेट गभर्मेन्टमा कति ठाउँमा पास छिटो गरिदिइहाल्छ। सेकेन्ड स्टेज इज तपाईँको अडिट जुन जसले गरिदिन्छ, द्याट इज नेटफी विच इज सिटिङ इन गुवाहाटी। थर्ड इज इन गभर्मेन्ट अफ इन्डिया, जसले चाहिँ गभर्मेन्ट अफ इन्डियाले चाहिँ नेटफीलाई दिएको हुन्छ। So if the state government is also helping you out, NetFew and central government are going on creating problems. So in that हामीले चाहिँ हेर्नु पर्यो कि लाल फिताशाहीमा चाहिँ कहाँनिर चाहिँ प्रब्लम हुँदैछ। स्टेट गभर्मेन्टले दिँदैछ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ सेन्ट्रल गभर्मेन्टले चाहिँ किन एक्सेप्ट नगरेको, नभने अडिट टिमले किन नगरेको। त्यो जुन चाहिँ लाल फिताशाही छ इन टर्म्स अफ नर्म्सहरू सबै पास गर्नु, यो अहिले एनइआइडिएसमा जुन चाहिँ फेस गर्दैछ त्यही चिज चाहिँ मफपीमा पनि फेस गर्छ, अरू चिजहरू अरू स्किम्समा पनि फेस हुन्छ। And this is not यो हाम्रो सिक्किमको स्टोरी मात्रै होइन डाक्टर सत्यदेव, यो स्टोरी चाहिँ हाम्रो अल नर्थ इस्टर्न स्टेट्सको सेम स्टोरी हो। आई गो टु हाम्रो साथी।
Is there a specific reason for that? I mean, if without, I mean, off the record. Let's say off the record.
No, recorded sir. No, on the record only sir. The reason, sir, म personally baffled छु किनभने यसको आन्सरै पाएको छुइनँ मैले।
Okay, so we'll look for answers in this summit.
There are interesting sessions. Everybody answer.
I know. I mean. No, we'll, that's where the entrepreneurs conclave is happening.
I mean, let this not be a discouraging point.
Yeah.
See, let this not be a discouraging point. Hami ke huncha bhane चाहिँ if I try 100 times, I may be able to success 1 year or twice year. Hami त्यो लिनु पर्यो. So let us not be a discouraging point. यस्तो problem हुन्छ गरेर.
Yeah. So last comment before we go for lunch. Yes.
I will not be barging you all with respect to lunch. So I quickly about myself. Myself, Anuj Sharma, I came from Bombay.
Yeah.
I work in the intersection of 4 things. One is investment, second entrepreneurship, third is your academia, and fourth is activism.
Right.
And thanks to Rewaj, I'm here. And he was one of the pioneer when we talk about entrepreneurship as well. I had listened to first session, second session partially. First of all, if I put it like this, when we look around Northeast, immense potential. I had been working in this space for the last 10 years. And 12 FDIs have come in this space. Majority of them have been galvanized by me. I'm talking of the first FDI in Northeast, first FDI in Manipur, first FDI in Nagaland. Now we are talking about Sikkim as well. Not easy. But at the same time, I'll put it very simple. Like Sikkim has a very good blessing. If I put it like this, let's leave out all these nagging things, negativity and other things. Let's talk about hope. Let's talk about moonshot. Can we become like Luxembourg? Luxembourg has population equivalent to Sikkim. It has the GDP of close to $80 billion. Sikkim has $4 billion. Can we become that? I will say we can exceed that. Yes, because you have far more amazing natural assets. You have far more amazing people here who are super friendly. And also I will say you are also having a very strategic location here. You're sharing great amount of locations, not just with respect to India as a whole. You are the gateway for Northeast. You are sharing like I will say borders with China, Bhutan and Nepal as well. At the same thing I will say the intent, the bias and stereotypes. These are the 3 things we need to address as well when we talk about Northeast. Also we need to destroy certain things. I'm sorry I'm using this word. Destroy when I say is whole of Northeast. Every single produce is controlled by Calcutta. The reason I'm talking about Calcutta is because all the trading hubs are there. Unless and until we don't empower people on the ground, we are not going anywhere. So, and in that whole thing, population is not at all a challenge. It's a blessing for you. If you have lesser population, it's blessing. If you have great locations here, you have on one side, you have just a great glacier water. You have great like forest here, great people, culture. All these things are great. So why we are diminishing? Because we have our morale which has gone down. We have to resurrect that. At the same time, people are like us. This is my 6th visit in 1 year. And I'm going to come again. The reason is because Sikkim has so much potential. For investors, don't come just for the sake of, I will say, investment, but they also seek solace. Because they are talking about not just ROI, we are also talking about SRI as well, social return on investment. There's immense SROI here. At the same time, you have potential to return back all the monies, but at the same time, you have great natural assets. So rather than talking about the, like I'll say negativity or depressions or challenges, I'll say, let's talk about hope. And that's something which I feel like up here, like very few of us are there, but I think we all have to go back on the drawing room board and also see how we can complement and make Sikkim as the best state, not just with respect to India, but in the whole of Asia, the startup hub. That's possible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just to add to Anuj's point, see, you had two stark things being said right now, and I want to address this now only, because it seems as if I am like, the one who's talking negatively about the government not doing this, that, or not, based on his question. Okay. The first thing he said is that your red tapeism, your how is he going to stand? How, like, if he's going through this, what about the rest? And Anuj sir said, you have to be positive. Why do you think after so many years of struggle also I am here only? Because I am hopeful. I am hopeful that we will do well. We will do well. The thing is that you can be negative. A journalist's job is to be critical and to be negative, but to what extent are you going to be negative, yeah? I am not going to, see, the thing is that you can talk about red tapeism till the cows come home in a country like India, which has just become market economy in the last 30 years. You can talk about this till the cows come home. But we have to look for solutions. I'm thankful to Anuj for raising this point, is that we cannot be like, just because I personally have a problem. But the point was that when the conference was announced, we are supposed to say that if you have anything critical, mention it. I mentioned it, but do not try and make it as if I am like, oh, this is happening, that is happening. It is very simple, is that there is a problem, I've identified the problem, but beyond that, I'm not going to be very critical also. I'm just saying that please, we should look at this from a holistic point of view, not from an individualistic point of view. That's my point. Thank you.
So, many things happening, I mean, with the new types of, as the gentleman here also said, that new types of notifications are coming. Everything is happening. I mean, in the last 10, 12 years, India has really moved ahead. So with that positive note of, you want to keep everyone hungry?
Excuse me, sir. Hi.
Yes.
I just want to add on to Anu's point here, because it's important that we all understand this. There's a story behind why I thought I will not, but since Anu's pointed out, I wanted to raise this point. Northeast India produces 65% of bamboos. I think we all will agree with that. 65% of the bamboo is produced in India. And which state in the country or which city in the country is known as the incense stick capital of the world? Anybody? Mysore. Mysore is known as the incense stick capital of the world. 95% of the things that is used for making incense stick goes from the northeast. That's exactly what it is. The stick that is used for making incense stick goes from Tripura. The bamboo charcoal that we use that for making the black portion of the incense stick goes from Assam. Even the glue that is used to stick into it goes from the northeast, and yet it goes to the southern part of the country where the bamboo is not grown. If bamboo grows, they use it in their living room as decorative piece. There they have used it as a decorative piece in their living room, and that became the incense stick capital of the world. Is that what we want to build? We want to bring back the entire economy back into our own place. This is where it belongs. It is important that we let the world know that the sun has finally risen from the east. That's what I was wanting.
With that positive note, I close this session. I mean, we can go on and on. Do you still want to question? Aren't you hungry? You're keeping 80 people hungry. Yes. Could you be louder? Your mic is off.
Down. Hello. Yes. Yeah, I'm so sorry for keeping you wait for lunch. I'm very sorry. So my name is Denzong. I have a small startup venture as Easy Shelter. I hope some of you might have heard of it. And I'll just keep two questions here. So I feel one or two just. So my question is, all of us are here. I'll be explaining in Nepali, okay? So हामी यहाँ सबैजना बिजनेस गर्ने छौँ, एन्टरप्रेन्योर्सहरू छौँ. सो तपाईहरु सबैजना एन्टरप्रेन्योर्सहरूले स्पेशली बिजनेस गर्नु भन्दाखेरि प्रोडक्सन एभ्रिथिङ सबै एकुमुलेट गरेर सबै हेर्नुहुन्छ तर फर्स्ट हेर्नुपर्ने कुरा चाहिँ तपाईँहरूले के हुन्छ कमर्सियल स्पेस सो डु यु फेस अब तपाईँहरूले कमर्सियल स्पेस त्यो जुनै पनि बिजनेस गर्नुको लागि एउटा स्पेस चाहिन्छ त्यो कमर्सियल स्पेस हामीले पाउनुको लागि कति मेहनत गर्नुपर्छ र रेन्ट अमाउन्टहरू कति महँगो छ सिक्किममा त्यो हामीले एकदमै फेस गरिरहेको छौँ इभन द रेसिडेन्सियल स्पेस कमर्सियल स्पेस सो द्याट इज द मेजर अब इस्यु ह्यापनिङ इन ग्याङटक सिक्किम होल सिक्किम सो बट वी हेभन्ट अब यहाँ डिस्कस पनि भएको छैन र एकदम यो ठुलो इस्यु हो जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई अनि यस प्रकार यो विचारमा चाहिँ तपाईँहरूलाई अब के भन्नु छ र कति रेन्ट अमाउन्ट महँगोले गर्दाखेरि कतिजनाले बिजनेस खोल्छु भन्छ तर बिकज अफ द रेन्ट अमाउन्ट इस्यु हामीले बिजनेस गर्न सक्दैनौँ कतिजनाले अगाडि बढ्नु सक्दैन
थ्याङ्क यू यु वान्ट टु आन्सर द्याट
त्यसको लागि गभर्मेन्ट अफ सिक्किम थ्रु कमर्स इन्डस्ट्री डिपार्टमेन्ट सिक्किममा फर द फर्स्ट टाइम एउटा वर्क एटमोस्फियर वर्किङ स्पेस भनौँ नि बनाउँदैछ देउरालीमा फ्ल्याटेड फ्याक्ट्री गरेर सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम where the state government is going to provide a working space here. So there is one that तपाईँ हेर्नु सक्छ अरू तपाईँ एउटा यहाँ तपाईँको इन्डस्ट्रियल यो हाम्रो यो छ नि स्टेटहरू छ देयर इज नोटिफाइड बाई द कमर्स इन्डस्ट्री डिपार्टमेन्ट where you can seek for the land on lease basis here त्यो तपाईँ हेर्नुपर्छ but however see land should not be a constraint here suppose if the government doesn't have any land then whether you are going to stop your company whether you are going to not do your business here this is what I would like to bring to you here so it is a responsibility of entrepreneurs to find out here where it can be this is what you have to look upon so everything cannot be a ready made what I mean to say everything cannot be ready made the fund cannot be ready made the technology cannot be ready made the land cannot be ready made and everything cannot be ready made suppose if everything is ready made then aapko contribution kya hai now usme aata hai na what is your contribution here contribution is when you make when you arrange everything here and when you say ab ye bhi hai ki I will just 1 minute one more here ki मान्छे आउँछ हो कि हामी के गर्ने हो गरेर नि हामी के गर्ने हो गरेर मैले भनेको तपाईँ यो दिस इज अ गाइडलाइन्स तपाईँ यो पढेर उसमा थुप्रो एक्टिभिटी छ तपाईँ हेर्नु नि तपाईँ कुन चाहिँ चाहिन्छ हो तपाईँ हेरेर तपाईँ चाहिँ त्यही लिएर आउनु हामी तपाईँको पुरा मद्दत सघाउँछु गरेर हामी भनेको नि त्यो मान्छे पढ्दैन फेरि हि डजन्ट रिड यार हामीले उसको दियो यो पढ्नु यो गाइडलाइन छ गरेर पढ्दैन यार सो अब नाउ आई क्यान नट प्रोभाइड रेडीमेड फुड टु हिम नि or her so that's what I mean to say is that कि अहिले suppose if you want to thrive if you want to get success in your life तपाईँ उसमा तपाईँ you know you should not be अलिक के भनौँ I'm so sorry to use the word laziness I'm so sorry मैले त्यही wrong intention चाहिँ भनेको छैन त्यो पढ्नुपर्छ नि फेरि बुझ्नुपर्छ नि फेरि बुझेर देन अब उसमा बुझ्दैन पनि तपाईँ आएर सोध्नु नि फेरि त त्यही टाइममा हामी मद्दत गर्छु नि फेरि सो त्यही मैले अलिकति त्यो चिज you know तपाईँहरूकोसँग सेयर गर्नको इच्छा थियो
and Denzong just this one that this is more on agriculture and livestock I want you to come on tomorrow at 3:45 when they have this panel on one family, one entrepreneur. I think that is where you should flag your because it's a powerhouse panel again. I mean, we're more on livestock right now and agriculture. So with that note and with the positive note of Anuj, and the sun is rising in the northeast, east means Calcutta also. Anyway, let's all go for lunch. Thank you to all my panelists.